So how do you go about finding a great team? What is your process for delegation?
A lot of things creep up on you in a very interesting way, where you feel like you do have some grip on scalability when you bring your company up from 1 employee to 5 employees. And even when you go from 5 employees to 7, 8, 9 employees, it doesn't feel that different. You can still use your current system and everything works fine. And then you get this weird place where you start adding just a few more employees and you get a few more clients, and then you realize your whole system's collapsing. You're like, how did this happen? This is crazy. You have this like exponential effect where you have these tiny little inefficiencies that you can easily work around, that you can easily brute force your way through them in the onset. But then when you have a bigger and bigger team, these things become exponentially more compounded. And then you have this question: do I optimize this current infrastructure, which is so much easier than the other option of completely tearing it down and rebuilding? And in order to see real success, you have to remove that inherent bias to want to do less work to continue. And you got to be okay with some, I call it digital pyromania, just completely being okay with ripping everything down in your online infrastructure and rebuilding. So hiring talent is one thing, and we'll definitely talk about that in just a moment, but also your internal infrastructure is equally important. When you start realizing that there are patterns to what you do, everything that I do now, I SOP it. I put it in like a 1, 2, 3 set of skills. And anytime I try to explain something to one person, I create it in a way that I can repurpose it. Because I don't know if this employee is going to come for a week or a month or 2 years, right? And at the same time, I'm going to have to tell to someone again. And I want to make sure the time I take to explain information or to onboard an employee has the least amount of work that goes wasted to that specific employee and the most amount of work that I can repurpose and reuse. So I use for having internal, and this takes months to figure out, you want to set up your internal infrastructure. Do you want to use Slack? Do you want to use Notion? Do you want to use Monday? Do you want to use, there are tons of project management tools. Finding the one that's perfect for you can be very annoying because you can find yourself invested. What was the first one I used? I used ClickUp. Okay, everyone said ClickUp's the best, right? And it's great, right? And then I spent a ton of time building our initial company on ClickUp. And then I realized, hey, there's a ceiling here. And I find myself preferring not to use ClickUp. And I realized, whoa, Notion is the king, absolute king for us. It took me like a month to move everything over. And I spent like 2 months building our ClickUp. Waste of time, but not really. It's about growth. ClickUp worked at the time. It clearly had its limitations within our current culture. So internal infrastructure, getting the right tools takes you a lot of time. Start watching YouTube videos where they compare one project management tool to another. You get a credible amount of insight in just a few minutes. That's the first thing. Second thing here is SOP your stuff. Create your tasks that are very actionable and clear so you can easily start hiring new people and you can scale your hiring process because hiring is a real pain.